Hello and welcome. You're watching Ask BQ on Bloomberg Quint. I am Agam Akil. And if you got questions on equity, this show is perfect for you. Send them to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp. Or you can, of course, call us on 022-4540-4141. And also mail us on askbq@bloombergquint.com. But don't forget to add the AskBQ hashtag. And before we get in our experts, let's start here by taking a look at the markets very quickly. At this point, well, advances coming through for the Sensex and the Nifty. Strength there. In fact, the Nifty is inching back towards the mark of 10,900. The Sensex also comfortably above the mark of 36,000. And coming down to the Nifty banking index as well, that's where you're seeing a little more strength come through, up 1%. In terms of losers and gainers, let's pull up the Nifty gainers at this time and see where the strength is coming from. It is Indian Oil Corp advancing by 3.5%. Sun Pharma and Z Entertainment also trending higher by nearly 3%. In terms of other gainers as well, and there's plenty to go for. We have UPL up 2.5%, Titan Company up 2.3%, and Yes Bank also advancing by as much as 2.3%. Moving on to some losers as well, what we are seeing is very little traction, in fact, considering the momentum is with the gainers. Asian Paints losing out less than 1%, and it's Bajaj Auto and Coal India, not worth a mention, considering the declines are hardly any, if at all, out there. So with that, let's get in our experts of the day. We have Amar Singh of Angel Broking here with us on the studio, and Sharmila Joshi, market expert, who joins us to answer all your queries. And I'm going to start off by taking a query on WhatsApp. We have Chafung, who has bought 100 shares of Oberoi Realty at 479 rupees per share, and he wants a technical view here. Let's take a look at Oberoi Realty. Let's see where it's currently trading at. So he's looking at a little bit of a loss at this point in time at 453. Amar, this one is for you. What would you do? What would you advise Chafung to do?
I would say that one can definitely hold this particular stock because it did witness some upside, and then again it is trading sideways. So what one can ideally do is one can wait for the level of 460 because if that level is taken out on the upside, the stock has a potential to rally towards 480 odd levels, but I would suggest that one should look at exiting the stock because on the long-term charts, the stock isn't very positive. So there is a possibility that we could see a capping on the upside towards 480, 485 levels.
Okay, well, there you have it. I hope that helps. But moving on to our next query is one from Ankit Goel, and the question is on Parag Milk Foods. Is it a good pick in the long term? Now, do remember there is a question of your inventory days, which has been a concern for a whole lot of your majors who are into the milk business. And if you consider the way things have panned out for something like a Parag Milk Foods, a Prabhat Dairy, and I'm not talking about quality because that's a completely different equation. If you see it on a 12-month basis or a 6-month basis, we've actually seen a little bit of a correction come through. This is, of course, as far as Parag Milk Foods is concerned. So there certainly are concerns over the certain aspects and elements of the balance sheet. But what about the fundamentals? What is Sharmila making of it? Sharmila, what would you do with Parag Milk Foods? What would you advise Ankit Goel to do?
No, I think he can continue to hold on. While I agree with you regarding the concerns that there have been for the space, but I think somewhere along the line we've seen a lot of these mid caps sort of return to more realistic valuation because there was that whole expectation that people were chasing new stories, etc. But I think that given the kind of quarter numbers that Parag Milk Food has posted as well as the overall outlook, I think he can stay invested if his view is slightly long term.
Okay, there you have it. That's your view on Parag Milk Foods. Moving on to the next query. It's from Arpit Bansal. It's on ICICI Bank futures, but he wants an intraday view here. So let's pull them up. Let's see how the banks are trading. This particular bank, I reckon, is advancing in trade considering the strength in the banking index as a whole. It's up around 1.6%. If we can also have the intraday chart there, because that is what is going to be crucial. Open interest of increase of around 5%. Amar, how would you help Ankit?
I would say that ICICI Bank looks positive on the charts. Technically, I would say on the daily as well as the long-term charts. However, one needs to watch out for 365, 370. That's a very crucial and key resistance zone for ICICI Bank. because till the time that's not taken out, I would say ICICI Bank could witness some profit booking at higher levels, whereas on the downside, it is finding good support around 352, 353 levels. And also what we see on the weekly charts is there is a shooting star formation and a doji formation on the weekly charts. So that clearly reflects that the upside till the time 368, 370 is not taken out, the stock could trade sideways. But once that's taken out, then the stock is definitely headed for a rally.
Okay, there you have it. That's the view on ICICI Bank on an intraday basis. But we move on and take the next one from Rishabh Jain. He wants a long-term view on KEC International. Sharmila, firstly, if you track this one, what your view is, and if you don't track this one, what would you do with the sector, if anything else that you like in this particular sector?
Well, I think both the sector as well as the stock are sort of seeing a resurgence of sorts, because I think, overall there is a expectation that, especially for the power sector, that things will look up in the coming year as a lot of their old overhang sort of issues are getting sorted. And the fact that we've not really added any capacity. So there is the general expectation that the capex cycle will pick up. KEC International also, we've seen them in these last couple of weeks get back some new orders. So I think in the light of that, and if you're getting new orders, if things are beginning to look up, then the sector really as a whole is one of those sectors which hasn't really done anything much for this last maybe 2 or 3 years. I think things are now beginning to get on a better track for them. So I think this would be the wrong time to exit. So I think continue to hold the stock and keep tracking it closely for developments, for orders, etc.
Okay, a bunch of queries coming in on Kotak Mahindra Bank. There are technical queries as well as fundamental queries. And if I can pick up on a few of them, well, one participant has an entry price of 1,248. Another one has an entry price of 1,200. Let's take a look at what we can expect from, from the technical as well as the fundamental analysis. Amar, I'm going to come to you on the technicals first. How do you read the prospects of the stock in the near term?
I would say near term, the stock is completely trading flat. There's no trend in the stock. So ideally, those who are in profits, they should look at booking profits. And those who are close to the buying price, I would say that they should also more or less exit the stock, because the stock, if you look for the last many trading sessions, and this I'm talking from a short-term perspective, it's unable to breach the 1265, 1270 zone. So that's a level to watch out for. Once that is taken out, then only we can expect some meaningful rally in the stock. Whereas on the downside, 1210 and 1215, that's a immediate short-term support for the stock.
Okay, well, Sharmila, with that, it's over to you. What would you do with Kotak Mahindra Bank? Well, the 31st of December, that's the crucial date, is around the corner. But once we're through that phase, what would you do with Kotak Mahindra Bank? How do valuations stack up?
A lot will depend, don't you think, on what they ultimately do. I mean, whether they're really going to pull in a larger investor or what exactly happens even in terms of structure. Is it the bank which issues fresh shares, or is it the promoter who sells off part of his holdings? So I think there are too many question marks at this point in time which remain unanswered. And I think a lot, the route they take to getting to that number is what will really decide the share price. Because I think, if for instance, they were to issue new shares, then what it does, and then it also sort of means that it is the bank which is getting the money. So I think that puts another spin on things. But if it's a promoter which is exiting, then it's really not really beneficial to the bank in that sense, but it is just getting out of this uncertainty phase. Also, which is the name that comes in. I think, we've heard of very fancy names being spoken of. So do we really get that high ticket sort of name that becomes an investor in your company? So that again will put a sort of a different spin on valuation. So I think at this point in time, I would really just go with the technical view and wait for clarity on how and what is the route that they take to comply with SEBI, and even if that is done by 31st December, because it seems a little unlikely that in the next 2 days you will get to hear of a solution unless they're really close to it and they just remain to sign on paper. So let's wait and see what happens. But for now, I would go with the technical view.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's the view coming in on Kotak Mahindra Bank. But Sharmila, we have one more coming your way as well. We have Pravandan, who says that he has 100 shares of Bodal Chemicals. What is the long-term strategy here? So firstly, if you do cover Bodal Chemicals, your view. If not, something else that you like in the specialty chemical space.
Well, overall, I think the specialty chemical space is one that I like. But we've also seen, similar to a whole host of other mid-cap space, we've seen them correct from the kind of highs that they made. But overall, I think the broader outlook for specialty chemicals as a space stays good, so stay invested.
Okay, that's your view coming in on the specialty chemical space. But moving on, we have a question from Prashant Benki. He wants a view on Coal India. He hasn't mentioned a horizon, so I'm going to take a technical view here in the short term. Amar, your view?
I would say that Coal India continues to remain bearish from a short-term perspective. However, the low that the Coal India had made on 10th of December, 220, 229 levels or so. So that's a level to watch out for. That ideally should not be breached. So if that is breached, then we could see some further selling on the stock. Whereas on the upside, I would say around 245, 250. That's a level that's capped on the upside. So rather one should wait for the stock to consolidate before entering long in this counter.
All right. Well, moving on, we have a question from Monil Shah, and his question is on Aavas Financiers. Let's pull up Aavas Financiers. It's a fundamental question because Monil wants to compare Aavas Financiers to some of the other NBFCs in the space. It's currently at around 822, and it's advancing by as much as 2%, but it's not as liquid as some of the other NBFCs, when it comes to, I would say volumes in general. But Sharmila, your view here, what would you do with Aavas Financiers if you track it? If not, any alternatives?
Very honestly, this is not a stock that I track too closely. But yes, I think within the NBFCs, as you suggested, there could be some other stocks that one could look at. I think that Shriram Transport Finance, some of the gold financiers like a Muthoot or a Manappuram, I think these could possibly be some names. And of course, I think the Bajaj twins, Bajaj Finance, as well as stocks like an L&T Finance. So my focus would be more on such stocks than. I'm very honestly, I've never tracked Aavas.
Okay, no worries. Well, there you have it. You at least have, the preferences from Sharmila when it comes to the NBFC space. But moving on, I'm going to take a query from Puneet Nanda as well. His question is on RBL Bank, and he wants a 2 to 3 month view. He's bought 3,000 shares at about 580, which isn't too far away from his entry price at 575, 576. Amar, 2 to 3 month view on RBL Bank.
I would say that he should definitely hold on to his position because technically looking at the charts, RBL Bank continues to remain positive. However, what he needs to watch out for is on the upside, RBL Bank has extremely strong resistance coming around 585, 590 zone. And whereas on the downside, it has formed a short-term bottom around 550 odd levels. So he should hold on to, because overall the trend remains positive, but a major rally towards 615, 620 can only be expected once 590 is taken out decisively for this particular stock.
Okay, well, moving on, we have a query on Reliance Industries. I'm going to take a technical as well as a fundamental view here. The question comes from Pankaj Joshi, and he's entered at around 1,078, so was perhaps slightly higher than current market levels. Well, his view is for a few months now. He hasn't really mentioned what exactly is the time horizon. But Sharmila, let me start off with you on Reliance Industries. How does this stock at this point stack up against a whole host of other mid-cap companies, perhaps some nifty companies too, in terms of returns, let's say for over the next 12 months? What would you do with this?
Well, over the next 12 months, I definitely hold it, because I think that, what we're really seeing from Reliance has been the fact that their base business has continued to do well, and we're actually seeing an improved performance from some of the new businesses that they invested in. Of course, I think Jio being sort of, this sort of space that everybody watched for, and, the kind of subscriptions that they've got there, and their whole business strategy there has paid off. Of late, we are seeing good numbers even from the retail side of their business, the Reliance retail business. So I think that if you entered into businesses where, at one point market said that, what next and what would be the businesses that Reliance would enter. So they entered new businesses, and now those are beginning to also pay off. So I think you're at an interesting sort of trajectory. So for me, it's a definite hold.
Okay, fair enough. Amar, what would you do with Reliance Industries technically?
I would say that one should hold on to this stock because I would say technically Reliance continues to be extremely strong on the long-term charts. However, what we are witnessing on the short-term charts is that there is some consolidation, and if you look at Reliance somewhere on the downside, 1050 on the downside, and whereas on the upside it's 1180. So the stock is trading in that range, but with a positive bias, so one should definitely hold on to the stock.
Okay, there you have it. Moving on to Ashok Leyland, and the same question again. And it's almost every day we take a question on Ashok Leyland, but let's bring it on anyway. We have a question on from Vivek Kanodia, and he wants a short-term view on the fundamentals of Ashok Leyland. So let's bring Sharmila on back here. Sharmila, do you expect some amount of consolidation before we start seeing perhaps a change in the volumes numbers, or do you think that this is a good stock to buy into anyway at these levels of around 100, 105?
Well, since he's asked for a short-term view, let's look at the kind of factors that could affect Ashok Leyland in the short term. I think, they are also looking for a change at the top level. So if you were to hear something on that and some clarity emerges on that, then I definitely think market will take it positively. Because, what we were really seeing is that the stock was had been steered to like a better book and better fundamentals over these last 2-3 years, and then we had this change on at the highest level, and somewhere market felt a little shaky after that. So you need to see which is the new phase that comes in, and whether that person will also be able to, or market thinks that that person will be able to steer the company in the same direction. So that was one, and I think secondly we saw a whole host of concern across the space on the whole CV space because of the kind of numbers that they've been reporting month on month, and auto for the first time in I think 4 or 5 years is witnessing a bit of a slowdown. Of course, I think you see it a little less in CVs, but there is that pressure in the kind of monthly numbers that they're putting in any case. But what we've also seen in the interim is the way crude has fallen off, and how that really affects the prices of not the prices, but how really if you see a return to people buying more cars or CVs going forward. So that I think is another factor that could get tested out in the next quarter or next couple of quarters. So, but for me, the stock at this price is a hold, but my view is slightly longer term than a couple of months. But for me, the stock is a hold, and I'd have like a first target of closer to 130.
Okay, Sharmila, it's not my place to educate viewers, but I think you could, because the next question may require some sort of advice here. We have Manikant, and his question is that he wants a fundamental view on one, Ruchi Soya, and second is Viceroy Hotels, which he is looking to put money into with a horizon of 2 to 3 years. That's one question. And the second part of his question is, if you do not recommend any of these stocks, which are some other penny stocks that you want to recommend? So I'm going to leave it open to your interpretation, and you can go ahead and speak to our viewer here.
Well, honestly, I don't recommend penny stocks because there is always a reason why they've become penny stocks. In the sense, when you talk of penny stocks, you talk of a stock which is less than 10 rupees in value. And why the stock price of a company has gotten eroded to that extent, there is always some reason why the stock is trading there. Now that reason could be valid, or it could be something that the company could manage to get out of. But I would broadly say that let's wait for it to come out of that that range, prove themselves, prove that their business is viable, that they're over the troubles that got them first into that sub 10 price range, and then look at the companies. Often, but what we also see is that when companies do come out of that range, sometimes they get back into that range. For instance, Suzlon, it got into that penny stock phase. You saw it rally all the way up to 30, and now it's back again to penny stock phase. So I would broadly steer clear of such stocks, and I think we've discussed enough good stocks in the course of the show. So please look at them as alternate investments, and do an SIP, and don't look at the price of the stock, because a lot depends ultimately on the valuation that it's trading at. The valuation a company gets is a multiple of its future earnings. So try and understand those factors. And today you're allowed to buy even one share. So that also should not be a deterrent. You can buy the most expensive share, but you can buy one share. And stay invested in good companies. By good, I mean, either Sensex or Nifty or Nifty 200 if you're not researching enough at your end, and really be a safe investor.
Okay, fair enough. And that perhaps is a very comprehensive answer as to how you should ideally deal or perhaps not deal with penny stocks. And maybe one more question before we can hit the rapid fire round is a question on IndusInd Bank, where Ankit has bought it at 1,564. Let's take a technical view here. It's currently at 1,586. Amar, would you recommend riding on profits currently or book them?
I would say that rather one should look at booking profits, because IndusInd Bank on the upside is meeting with resistance. So somewhere or the other, one should look at booking profits. And also, if I look at the long-term charts, I'm talking about the monthly charts, clearly shows that the upside for this stock is seems to be capped. So ideally, one should look at booking profits in this particular stock.
Okay, well, on that note, it's time to hit the rapid fire segment, and I'm going to request our experts to keep their answers as short as possible, if it could be kept even at one sentence so that we could take as many queries as possible. And the next question is from Karan Singh, and it's the view is needed on healthcare global. This is a fundamental question. Sharmila, your view on healthcare global?
I'm sorry, I don't track this.
Okay, we have Pushkar Monu who wants a long-term view on HDFC AMC. Sharmila, any views here?
That for me is a definite hold.
All right, moving on to the next one, we have also a question on something like, okay, so Sharma wants a technical view on cement stocks. For you, Amar, does any cement stock stand out towards the long or the short side right now?
I would say one can definitely look at ACC, because ACC is trading positive. So one can look at ACC, and the stop loss needs to be below 1440, and a target on the upside could be 1550.
Okay. Sharmila, if you track Sheela Foam, Parth wants a long-term view.
No, once again, I don't track this stock.
Okay, no worries. Can we pull up Sheela Foams, perhaps take a technical view here? It's down around 2.3% right now, but it has seen a lot of steam recently at around 1,460. Amar, your technical view?
I would say that we are seeing consolidation in this particular stock, so I would say rather stay away.
Okay, stay away. The next question is from Ayush Sachdeva, and he wants a view on Amara Raja batteries, which he has entered at 730. Let's pull up the stock. Okay, it's currently at 736. So Amar, a short-term view on Amara Raja batteries.
I would say he can hold on to his stock, but ideally look at booking profits around 755, 760, because that's a crucial zone of resistance.
All right. Aru wants to know if Karnataka Bank can be held for the long term. He has 7,000 shares at 119. Sharmila, this one is for you. He has 7,000 shares at 119, not too far away from the current price. What would you do with Karnataka Bank?
Well, overall, I think things for banks seem to be looking up, especially after yesterday's recapitalization, etc. So I think for now it will be a hold.
Okay, guys, we've run out of time on this show, so I'm going to take a moment to thank both our experts, Sharmila and Amar, for joining us and helping our viewers with all their queries. But that is all that we have on this edition of Ask BQ. Power Lunch is up next. Stay tuned in.